Let's head back to Tennessee, where convicted killer Zachary Adams is in court for a post-trial hearing this week, hoping to get a new trial.
Adams was found guilty in 2017 for kidnapping, raping, and killing 20-year-old Holly Bobo, who had disappeared from her home 6 years earlier. And now he wants that conviction overturned. Let's go back into the courtroom. More of this 911 call from Zach Adams' grandfather.
He's run to 235. He's run back to his house at 235. Calm down, Dick. We're going to get you some help out there. They just come in and woke you up? Yeah. He's been well asleep all day, and I can tell he's messed up on drugs. I called him Charlie too. And you just tell him if he comes back over, okay? Okay. He go back in over to his house. I don't know where he just run out toward his house. I don't know where he went, but he run out toward his house. They want me to give him your vehicle. Is that what you said? They want me to give him the vehicle? Yeah, he want my vehicle. So I just had to go to Lexington and get a. I called him up there with a bunch of drugs, and that's Trace Park. And I had to go get my vehicle out where the record pulled it in. He's messed up. I know it. He said the location. 2154. Messed up on? No, I just know he's messed up. I mean, you know. You haven't seen him since he took off, have you? No, he grabbed that couple of guns and I got him away from him. And he run. So he come to my house again, I tell him I'll shoot him. Hang on.
Pause that, Mr. Boyd. For what purpose are we playing this?
We're just playing the entire thing, Your Honor. I'm sorry, I think it's almost done. To show that his frantic state of the defendant on April 13th, 2011, trying to get to vehicles and trying to get to guns.
All right.
Is that it? I think we'd ask that this be marked as the next exhibits.
Objections, Mr. Page, thank you. Let's put those both on one flash drive, collected exhibit 117.
That's all we
Thank you. A few days after this, did you get one of your granddaddy's cars that night after he's calling 911? Did you get one?
I did not.
Okay.
No.
A couple days later, Warren Rainey comes by your house, correct?
I don't dispute that.
Law enforcement? Okay. And he asked you for your phone number. You wouldn't give it to him.
I don't cooperate. I didn't cooperate with law at the time like that.
He noticed that you were shaking.
They knew my phone number. Why do I have to? I mean,
Sure.
Stuff like that. They had my DNA. I'm not. It's just little stuff like that. They would ask. Back then, Miss Wyward, it was me. Like it was me against the police. I sold drugs. I did drugs. I knew that the police. Like it's not like I am now.
Right. So if they knew all about it all, why were you shaking so bad that day when he came?
I had about 5,000 marijuana plants right behind the house there.
Okay.
And inside the house. It was all inside the house. I'm talking I had about at least 5,000.
But they knew you were a drug dealer?
Yeah.
Okay. So he comes by, wants to talk to you, check some things out. You won't give him your phone number. That's when they watch you for hours. That's when you're vacuuming out the truck. That's when you're running back and forth between your granddaddy's house and washing off this mattress. You never once mentioned, wait a minute, I was at the bank On April 13th, 2011, I was at the ATM at 11:16 in the morning. I was with Shane and I was with Dylan. You never mentioned it.
No, I never mentioned that. But if we'd had that video, if we had that ATM footage, like I said, it would show Shane at the ATM getting. And like I said, I don't know where the video's at. If TBI would have did their job, I wouldn't be sitting here right now in blues like I am.
Well, thank goodness for your cell phone expert. Thank goodness for Jonathan Reeves, who made it clear to the jury. Zach Adams was in Parsons at 11:16 in the morning. He made that clear to the jury.
Well, ma'am, that
Law
ATM footage
enforcement-
would have showed me sitting in that 2007 Silverado with Shane in the passenger seat, my brother possibly in the back.
All right, Mr. Adams, I know that's your position. Ms. Wyrick, I know that his expert testified.
Yes, sir.
The jury heard it.
Yes, sir.
Let's move on.
Yes, sir. April 23rd, 2011, law enforcement comes back. They see the scratches on you. You said that you got those on April 4th of 2011 when you were arrested by Henderson County. That was investigated. You didn't get the scratches then. And there was testimony about that you lied about that. Again, you don't mention the bank. You don't mention Jason Autry. And you don't mention, I was frantically on my phone the morning of April 13th, 2011, trying to get a hold of my grandfather and Jason and Shane. I couldn't have done this. Never mentioned
I
it.
never mentioned that.
July 6, 2011, law enforcement again comes by, different version. This time you're getting up a little bit earlier. This time you mentioned Tony Weber. And when that was run to the ground, problem there was Tony Weber said, I didn't get gas that day. I wasn't at that gas station that day. I don't know what Zach Adams is talking about.
Miss Wyrick, I believe that we found bank statements where he did get gas that day, and it wasn't once. I think it was twice, if
No,
I'm
sir.
not mistaken.
Well, the record will reflect what the record reflects. August 28th, 2012 is the first time, August 28th, 2012 is the first time you mention to law enforcement that you were with Jason Autry. You then go,
Miss
and
Wyrick,
Miss
I wasn't
Etu-
with Jason Autry. He came by. I remember he came by that day, and we went over to Victor's house for a little bit, and I got morphine. I was the go between him. Like, it wasn't like we was together all day. He was there for like 30 minutes at the most. He came by. We got the morphine. We smoked a joint. Me and Shane had a little spat. We got out of there. Like, Victor got up and said, "You can't be coming over here fighting." We went back to my house, and he left. Like, Jason wasn't with us that day.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
Thank you.
All right, Wendy Patrick still with us. What's your take on this one? It's fascinating to watch. That's
He's a
for sure.
character on the stand.
Yeah.
I agree with the both of you. And I have to say, one of the things that I loved about being a defense attorney is cross-examination. You cross-examined all the people's witnesses. Here, the prosecutor gets a shot at it. And when the defendant takes the stand, it can go one of two ways. It's either a Perry Mason moment somewhere in there, or it's frustrating as here, where you have somebody on the stand that basically has an answer for everything and wants to tell his own story regardless of the questions that are asked. So what this is about is keeping your cool and perfecting your record. One of the challenges in cross-examining a defendant like this is making sure you get out the evidence that you're seeking and don't get derailed by some of what the defendant is trying to discuss. We even saw that on the very basic things like how many cars were searched. He didn't want to give a number. He wanted to go through them, editorialize, elaborate. But I have to say, there is some value sometimes in letting a defendant continue to talk, because it creates inconsistencies that the prosecution can then use to prove whatever they need to prove. And you have seen that take place here already on several occasions. Now, this will all be wrapped up nicely with a bow at the end, but he certainly is giving a lot into the record that the prosecutor will be able to work with.
Yeah, and you know, the defense counsel is going to be calling several witnesses here, and we'll have to see if the judge ends up granting a new trial in this case. Wendy, what do you think? The burden is high. They have to show some evidence that would have had a material difference for the outcome of the last trial. This man is serving life in prison. I mean, if he didn't do it, you know, the family deserves justice. The family of Holly Bobo deserves justice. And if there are some questions here, I mean, the judge's going to take a look and make a decision. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think the judge is going to take a look and make a decision, but it's also true that this case didn't hinge on one single witness and no other evidence whatsoever. And that is going to make a difference. The judge is going to evaluate the weight of all of the evidence together. It's a challenge to prove these cases in terms of being the defense and wanting a new trial, and we'll see if it happens here. But it's a hard hill to climb.
Got to run. Back after this.
And welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Kelly Craft in this afternoon for Julia Janae. Thank you for being with us. We are tracking several cases today here at Court TV. In Georgia, a judge has just found Matthew Lance guilty on all counts in the shooting deaths of Justin and Amber Hicks. Sentencing is set for tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Also, we are in Florida. A jury is hearing testimony in our newest live trial for Darrell Walker. Prosecutors say he killed his wife the day before Thanksgiving in 2023. In Wisconsin, sentencing is underway for Steve Merkel. He faces up to 60 years in prison after pleading guilty to shooting his 8-year-old stepson to death. Also, we are in Tennessee. Zach Adams, he is on the stand today fighting for a new trial at his post-conviction hearing. He is currently serving life in prison for the murder of Holly Bobo. Let's head back inside that courtroom now. He's on cross-examination.
Sorry, been marked.
No, sir.
Here's this one. Set of documents. No, that's just the transcript of the moment here that was never marked. 116. Identification 118.
We probably do on the screen. I don't have a paper copy. What does it say at the top of that?
Original list regarding Zach's stupid mouth, Brian Smith.
How many pages is that document?
1, 2, 3, 4.
You're not asking that 4 page. That
Objection, say. Mark exhibit 118.
You said.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may.
Thank you. When did you hire Jennifer Thompson? Do you remember?
I was arrested February 28th, 2014. I think it was later on that week she came. Her and Jim came. I wouldn't say I hired her right then, but she came on, and it was right before the preliminary hearing at the Decatur County for the trumped up charges that was later dismissed with Amber Bray and that.
The charges where you held Amber Bray hostage? That?
No.
That was the accusation, correct? Until she gave you money?
Until what?
Till they gave you money?
That's false.
Okay. That was trumped up.
Well, how come y'all didn't prosecute that then?
That's what I'm asking you. Is that the case you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You were also indicted at some point for threatening to kill your brother Dylan Adams, correct?
I don't recall that.
You don't recall being indicted for that?
Miss Wyrick, from February 28, 2014, do you know how many times the TBIs came? They've dropped the charges, recharged me. I've been charged with so many things. I couldn't even tell you how many times y'all have dropped charges, recharged me, charged me with stuff, tampering with evidence, all kinds of stuff that never went to court over. So if you was to tell me that, I wouldn't I don't recall, but I wouldn't doubt it.
The jury heard testimony that you tried to get Jason Autry to kill Dylan Adams, your brother.
Absolutely not. That's a total lie. I
Jason-
love my brother with all my heart.
The jury also heard testimony that you got word to Dylan Adams that he better keep his mouth shut. Was that a lie too?
No, I did say that. I did say that. I was upset, and that's the reason that all this happened is the lies that he told.
When Miss Thompson came to meet with you each time, you spoke to her, right? Like you answered her questions, y'all talked, you got along?
Absolutely.
Did she show up at every court appearance?
Absolutely.
Did she file motions on your behalf?
Yes.
She argued those motions?
Yes.
She subpoenaed witnesses to the trial?
Yes.
She asked you questions about, all right, I mean, where were you on April 13th, 2011? She asked you where you were and you told her, right?
Yeah.
You gave her everything you knew, right?
Yep.
You gave her names of people to talk to?
I did, but throughout that day, there wasn't really a whole lot of people that I seen other than Rebecca, and like I didn't like throughout April 13th when we went to Parsons, we didn't really run into nobody that day that I could specifically give them that you know I didn't run into anybody that I knew. I didn't get out. I don't recall getting out of the truck after I left the shell, and then we got up there to the drug dealer's house. I don't recall getting out of the truck except for up there at Joe's video. Other than that, I don't recall getting out of the truck that much that day.
Would it surprise you to learn that Ms. Thompson, in talking with one of the many consultants that she brought in on this case, shared with that consultant that you were not engaged, you were not talking, and that you had absolutely no short-term memory about these events because of all your heavy drug usage? And she was doing the best she could given the fact that you were not sharing information with her. Would it surprise you to learn that she said that?
It wouldn't surprise me at this point. It wouldn't surprise me what anybody would say. There's been so many lies told on me. I wouldn't be surprised what anybody would say.
All right. You were convicted by the jury. How long did they deliberate? You remember?
I don't recall. It was a couple days.
A couple days, wasn't it? They were out a while. It took a while to come back and convict you, didn't they?
I don't recall the amount. I know it was a couple.
Okay. When you made the statement, no body, no gun, to Mr. Cooper and Kirk, you were just talking?
I don't recall making that statement, ma'am.
Okay. When you made the
And
statement, I couldn't have picked.
That's another thing. Y'all had those two inmates, but there was a corrections officer that was right there too. How come y'all didn't get her to come up here and testify that I made those statements? She was right there. She was right there beside me. I was in protective custody. They had me up there in a cell. I wasn't in general population. I was up there in the front in a cell all by myself. They had me right there beside the guard. How come y'all didn't get her to come say that? How come y'all had to get two inmates? Oh, let me guess. Y'all couldn't give her a deal. Okay.
You have an opportunity to explain.
Okay.
You finished?
Yeah.
Okay. You were convicted by the jury, and then conversations started about the next phase, right? About the death penalty.
Which if I'd had to do over, I'd have went on and let them get the death penalty. It'd have been, I'd have got better appeals. I would have went on. If I'd hindsight been 50-50, I'd have went on. I wouldn't have took this deal.
Well, you could have taken a deal, Mr. Adams.
I shouldn't have though. I should have went on and let them get the death penalty, and then let these death penalty activists fought this, and then the truth would have came out, and all the shady stuff that has went on, like the ATM video, and all the stuff that's been hidden and covered up, would have came out.
Well, then why didn't you tell your lawyers to sign me up for the death penalty?
I should have.
They came to you and tried to get you to plead to something lesser than life without parole, right?
I would, and I ain't going to. I never will. I won't ever plead to nothing. I'm innocent. Why would I plead to something I didn't do?
Okay.
That'd be stupid.
After you were convicted, you began having conversations with your lawyers, right, about the next phase, or did they not talk to you about it? Did y'all talk about it?
We talked.
Okay. And they said the state is willing to take death off the table and give you life without the possibility of parole, right? Did they say that to you?
They did. They did, and they come back and they said the first time, I believe it was they didn't want me to have no appeals. I said no, absolutely not.
So you took
And
life.
I do remember that at this point there was some animosity between Mr. Jim Simmons and and Jennifer, because Jim came to me trying to get me to plea out behind Jennifer's back. And then after I said, no, I'm not pleading out to something I didn't do, he made me sign a motion. He wanted me to write a motion to the judge because he wanted to recuse himself. In which I did.
You accepted life without parole, right?
I did.
Okay. What year was that?
2017, September.
You remember writing a letter to Ms. Thompson in 2018? Do you remember writing a letter to Ms. Jennifer Thompson in 2018?
I don't recall. If you have the letter?
I do. Jennifer, hear me out. I can take care of myself. Please get me off of Max.
Let's let him authenticate this.
I'm sorry, I was trying to see if you remembered the language of it.
Well,
Is this your handwriting?
I can't see that far.
No, I am. Is this your handwriting?
I can't see that far.
All right. Have this passed for the witness, Your Honor.
All right, it's been handed to the document.
Is that your writing?
That is.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd ask that be marked as the next numbered exhibit.
Mark it as Exhibit 119.
Second page.
Okay, where at?
I wanted to go to trial and you made that happen. Remember telling her that?
Well, that's what happens when you don't plea out. So I don't believe that she made that happen. I believe that that's part of the court system. That's what happens whenever you don't take a plea. You go to trial, right?
Is that your writing?
That is my writing.
Is that a letter you sent to Ms. Thompson?
That is.
Okay.
We're going to squeeze in a quick break. We're going to have more testimony from Zach Adams after we return. Stay tuned. We're coming right back.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, will unrelated charges against Melody Buzzard's mother tell us more about this little girl's disappearance? We have key takeaways from today's big hearing.
Closing Arguments with Vinny Politan, tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV.
My goal is to make sure that you remember me for the rest of your life.
You kill a man for acting like a junkie when you the one turned him into a junkie.
Interview with a Killer, season finale, Saturday night at 8 Eastern and Pacific, only on Court TV.
We are watching key testimony in the long-running post-trial hearing for Zach Adams. He is hoping to overturn his conviction in the death of Tennessee nursing student Holly Bobo. Adams has been on the stand. Let's go back in for more.
24. No, sir. Sorry, thank you. May 22nd of 2024, do you remember having a jail conversation?
What's the date, Ms. Wywert?
May 22nd, 2024.
May 22nd, 2024.
You're in jail, you're having phone.
Who was the phone call to, Ms. Wywert? Because I make lots of phone calls.
Ms. Spirko.
Okay.
And she was needing instruction and help on burying something. You remember this?
I don't recall, Ms. Wywert.
She said she had something she needed to bury. She didn't say what it was. And you told her where to go. You instructed her to go to a piece of property that your family owned. You remember this?
Okay. Yeah, I remember.
You remember that?
Seems like I remember. Seems like I do. Keep going, though.
Told her to go to that property and bury something and not to take a cell phone with her. You remember that?
Okay.
Do you remember that?
Seems like I do.
Okay. Do you know what it was that she needed to bury?
I don't recall.
Okay.
Do you?
Do you know what she needed to bury?
I do.
Okay.
But
What was it?
I don't really recall. I don't really recall the conversation exactly, but it was something to do with if something happened to me, it was the story so if something happened to me while I was in prison, it was the interview that I gave to her of everything that the truth. That's what it was.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Redirect this.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Adams,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Wyrick asked you a bunch of questions about how hard Ms. Thompson worked in preparing for your defense. Do you recall that line of questioning?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And she read through your testimony to the court, telling them it was your decision not to testify.
Okay.
Right.
Can I elaborate a little bit? So I've never been in a trial before. I never knew how a trial worked. So I never knew, I couldn't, looking at the way she worked and the way y'all work is like day and night. She was so unorganized. She was just, she didn't know, it's like she didn't know what she was doing.
Well, let me ask you this, okay? Did you have any idea that your attorney did not know the circumference of a .380 round?
I did not.
Did you have any idea that your attorney did not know the difference between a cell phone expert and a cell phone tracking expert?
I did not, but I do know we had unlimited resources that we could have hired any kind of expert available. And we didn't. I believe the only experts we hired were a jury consultant and a cell phone expert.
And do you recall seeing any video, still image, anything that showed your truck at the ATM during trial or before?
Nope. Okay. I remember I told Miss Thompson that about me being at the Delta, and I remember she was asking me like which pump I was at, but no, I've never seen no video of the ATM.
Okay. You recall Ms. Wyrick asking you about when you accidentally shot your mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And she read off a report from a medication expert that said that using your mother, it would be a problem using your mother as a mitigation because you shot her, right? So during that incident, when you were mishandling a weapon, were you on drugs?
I was.
So were you high at the moment that happened?
I was.
And do you typically remember 10 days after a regular day of your activity, everything that you've done?
10 days ago, I couldn't tell you how many times I used the bathroom or how many phone calls I made or exactly who I talked to. But I can tell you that I probably talked to my mom. I probably talked to my granddaddy. There's 2 or 3 people that I always talk to. But other than that, I couldn't tell you what we talked about, the substance of the conversation, what I ate, or a lot of things. No.
Did the police at any time ever ask you specifically about Jason Autry?
They did not. They just wanted to know where I was that day. Where was you at, Zach? And I told them exactly where I was at.
Okay, so your testimony was that you met up with Jason Autry and went to Dinsmore's to go buy morphine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so is that something you would want to tell the police?
Absolutely not.
Okay. And you also mentioned that, Mr. Autry's a commanding figure. Would you agree?
6'6", he's a big dude.
And you said that you didn't want to get on his bad side, right?
Absolutely not.
So we heard the 911 calls. from your grandpa.
Yes, ma'am.
Was that the first instance that you ever had your grandparents have to call 911 or had problems with them?
No, ma'am.
Because you were using drugs, right?
That's right.
And you would get in fights with your grandparents.
That happened a lot. They would say I was high, and we would have an argument, and that was the easiest way for them to get me in jail and get me cleaned up. Happened all the time. I would go to jail, and I would take a plea, and I would plea out. Happened all the time. Happened all the time.
And I just want to be clear, Miss Wyrick characterized she read off all the text exchanges that you had the morning of April the 13th, 2011. Do you recall that? She said you were frantically texting.
Mm-hmm.
Were you frantic that morning?
I was not frantic. I had been up arguing with Rebecca, and I was asleep. Like I said, I don't recall going to the river with Jason that morning. It's because nothing stood out that morning. We didn't catch no big bass. He didn't have a large amount of drugs. There was nothing that morning that was out of the ordinary. And the only reason I remember Shane calling is Shane never called like that. He never asked me that. And I was like, Shane, why would you call and ask me if I wanted to overdose on Xanaxes? But it's just the way Shane was. He was just kind of he was trying to be funny about things.
So that's something that stood out to you about that day?
It is. And
isn't it the reason that you're testifying about, you testified earlier that you don't have a specific memory of going to the river with Jason Autry that day.
I don't.
So is it because the phone records that you've reviewed?
I'm not disputing the phone records, but I don't remember it. But that's the whole thing. I went to that river so much with Jason. He would come by. He would come by, and he said, "Let's ride the river." We would go down and we would fish for 10 or 15 minutes. And we would go back. We would smoke some weed. Sometimes we would just go down there and get high and smoke meth. Or we would go down there so often. You know, it was a place that we hung out.
And the document that you received that said all the stupid things Zach said. Have you ever seen that document before?
I haven't. I haven't.
1 second, Your Honor. All right, that's all I have.
One more question. Were you at the river on April 13th, 2011 with Jason Autry?
The phone record says that. I do not remember.
Were you at the river?
The phone records.
I'm going to object. He's answered that. He says he didn't remember.
All right, you have an objection. It's asked and answered. Are you asking a different question?
I am, because I recall two different answers now. On April 13th, 2011, were you at the Tennessee River with Jason Autry?
The phone records reflect that. Like I said earlier, I'm not disputing the phone records, but there's nothing about that morning that stood out. So I'm not disputing being at the river with Jason. I went to the river so much with Jason, I'm not disputing that. But there's nothing about that morning that stood out.
And no reason to dispute the phone records, right?
That's right.
Nothing further.
Last chance.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Zachary Adams is done testifying in this post-conviction relief hearing. Let's go ahead and bring in trial attorney Dwight Williams to talk about what we have been seeing so far. Dwight, thank you so much for being with us today. I want to ask you about this. So he wants a new trial based on his innocence and newly discovered evidence, talking about a key witness in the case recanting his testimony. What did you think of Zach on the stand? How do you think he did? Do you think he's going to convince the judge?
Thanks for having me. I think it's the difficult road for him to have to travel. I thought at times he was a bit smug. I did not like his attitude at times as it related to the cross-examination. That prosecutor, that's her job, is to get him off his guard, to throw haymakers at him and to gauge his reaction. And quite often, once again, I felt like some of his responses were a bit too smug, too smart, as it related to some of these questions. A lot of things he did not happen to recall all of a sudden. Some things he did. It's just, to me, it just was not a consistent job that he did. And then his attitude, I think, probably rubbed the judge the wrong way at certain times. So I can't give him a failing grade, but it may be a D or a C today.
Yeah, Dwight, that's what's difficult sometimes when someone takes the stand and they're talking about things they can recall, but then when asked about other things, for instance, what did you tell that person to bury? Then they can't exactly recall, or then they say, like he said to the prosecutor, will you tell me?
Yeah, I mean, it's seems very selective, and that's the goal of a good cross-examination. Typically, you want your subject to be sitting there, on direct, feeling very comfortable, answering questions, having a great recall of facts, and then upon cross-examination, all of a sudden their memory fails them. And then once again, I just can't stress enough there's just something about his attitude, and I know he's fighting for his freedom. I know he feels like he was not afforded a fair trial, but he just didn't seem as if he brought his A game as related to his attitude today and how he comported himself in front of the judge. I just had an issue with some of how he presented himself, and I really think the judge sitting there, once again, no jury today, just the judge. I think the judge sitting there is going to have a hard time kind of feeling sorry or sympathetic towards him, and more importantly, kind of zoning that out and getting to the facts of this case.